Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Hotel Dropouts. I'm Bernard, and I'm joined by Dan and Jamie. And our topic today is about mental health. If you like to support us, you can check us out on Patreon, leave a like and subscribe, and also comment below telling us what your thoughts about the topics we talked about are. So, Jamie, how was your week?
Oh, my week has been a little anxiety ridden. I was looking
Oh,
at job opportunities and what I would do once I get to the UK. And at this point, because so listeners may not know, but I was in the games slash animation industry, and a couple past years since COVID has been detrimental, right? Like we've seen games fail, movie fails, the whole DEI woke thing, blah blah blah, and then the writer's strike. So basically, those industries are in the
lots of
ditch
job
now.
cutoffs.
Yeah, and job cuts are
Yeah.
everywhere. So now I'm looking at different opportunities. And earlier, Dan and I actually talked about military simulation. So I may, as a person who often champions peace and wanting peace in this world, it would be the biggest ironic fu if I ended up making simulations for missiles and anti tank rounds and like doing all those explosions. But no, seriously, I think I might just take anything. I'm not really sure what, but I think I'll take something in the beginning and then just work my way to a job that I prefer.
Yeah, I just want to throw a couple of random facts. Do you know some tanks, some of the modern tanks, because you were talking about anti-tank missiles, some of the modern tanks, if you point a laser at it, it can automatically detect and calculate where the laser is being pointed from, and the turret can automatically point towards where the pointer is.
That's insane. How do you determine where? How do you sense it? Like
Crazy.
how does the sensors work for that?
I don't know, but I think it uses some kind of IR sensors where it detects that it's being tagged by a laser.
Hmm.
And I'm assuming it's a camera that can see the line, the laser pointer line, because if you have, for example, night vision lasers, you can easily see the line,
Yeah.
right? And I'm assuming that it has some kind of camera that calculates like where it's being pointed from.
I thought the biggest problem with tanks has always been that in modern warfare, there's so many anti-tank solutions as well as drones carrying grenades and stuff. I thought that's the biggest problem that hunts down tanks, no?
I don't know. I mean, we're entering a new age where cheap drones are able to target like sensitive parts of a tank.
Mhm.
So whereas in the past where tank combat is pretty much like on a even axis, maybe with some elevation and depression.
Mm.
Uh, depression. Talk
No.
about mental health.
Oh, what? That is terrible, Benny.
Let's talk about depression. So, tanks are depressions.
Tank.
This sounds
w-
like a gentle way to talk about erectile dysfunction.
Oh my god.
uh, no, but on a serious note, so that's back to the topic. Tanks usually have frontal and side armor. Um, I guess that's where this new age combat comes in, where top top heavy security are also coming in. But then the problem is like at one point it's just too heavy, right? And even with the infantry these days, there's a lot more focus on mobility. Gone is the idea of the turtle, where you have like a thick, heavy, um, like flak vest or a splinter vest, and now it's more like all this plate carriers, which allows mobility, which actually just only covers um, your thorax and your back.
I think we're slowly moving to a world where governments are not even pretending to hide the fact that they don't care about the infantrymen. They're just cannon fodder. They're just like, oh yeah, just protect your chest, whatever. You're better off
I mean,
moving fast anyway.
I mean, like we're also moving past the days of conventional warfare where we have trenches every 20 meters, 25 meters, and now we're going more towards urban combat, um, where the enemy is not wearing a uniform, where anybody is a potential target, right?
Actually so scary. Just being in there,
Yeah.
you like imagine being one of those foreign fighters. Like I've seen some clips, and then they have to be so fast to identify who's friends and who's foe.
Oh, damn, that's crazy.
I keep thinking about that Cannon Fodder comment. I don't think it's that true, at least in this particular case. You could say that they're like the idea of the whole light setup is so you're more mobile, and you're more mobile not so you could die faster. You're more mobile so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
of
actually
course.
survive better.
I was being
Yeah.
pessimistic.
But I've heard that one of the like one of the things that incapacitates soldiers the most is shrapnel, and
Yep.
mm, I remember I talked to one friend of mine who's into body armor and body armor history, and he showed me that some of the like armor that people used before, like I think it was the British, they had basically more of a jacket that is all protecting your whole body from shrapnel. It's not really designed for stopping like
Bullets.
bullets. Yeah, and that was intentional because most likely, if you will get hurt by something, it's shrapnel.
Yeah, apparently
Yeah,
it's the
and
leading
most of
cause
the
of death.
cause of death. Yeah, the highest cause of death in combat scenarios, based on the statistics from the American Army, are because soldiers bleed out.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so just don't bleed. Try
that would
There
be
are something
optimal.
to stop
try
this.
not to bleed.
Just don't bleed for it.
Hold it in, man.
Oh my goodness. Would it be sensible to like bring a shield then? Like it doesn't even have to be strong. It doesn't even need to block bullets, but it's just a shield that covers you, that stands between you and potential shrapnels.
Mm,
Doesn't sound
well, I
practical.
mean that's the whole vest, right? Like that's the whole plate carrier. The
Mm.
plate is your shield.
I
But
I I
what a
s-
lot of people don't forget, I mean, don't remember, is that the projectile has a kinetic force, um, and this force is like really strong. So just because you are wearing something that would stop the penetration doesn't mean it's gonna stop the impact.
That's what I was thinking. So I thought maybe some kind of a shield that you plant down on the ground would be better. Even if it gets shattered from the shrapnels, it's still like physically away from your body that you won't get that kinetic impact because it's you're not wearing it.
Aha, like you know what? Like a Roman testudo. We should go back to that.
That would be cool.
What is that?
Imagine me.
Well, the Roman testudo, you know the tower shield that the Roman soldiers have?
Uh, it's like
It's huge.
this tower on wheels, right?
No, it's like the normal Roman infantry, especially after the reformation of the Roman army. They have this like this the door shield they call it. It's like a big shield which has like a curve to it, and basically it's called the tower shield, and it's about one human height from like your foot to your shoulder, and I think it's made of wood normally. But the thing about it is that you could like put it side by side, two different shields, and you can have like a wall. So how they would do the testudo is basically a formation where they make like a box out of this shield to protect them better from arrows and stuff. Of course, it wasn't foolproof. There's always like little gaps where if a unlucky arrow managed to slip in, then somebody's gonna get hurt. But it was a lot better than just walking into a hail of arrows.
You know what
Mm.
I feel like
yeah, go ahead.
I feel like in general the idea of shields is a bit too old because you have to set it up knowing where like the projectile can come in, but
Yeah,
today you
and it's
don't really
heavy.
know, so you have to make a circle around yourself out of shields, and then I mean even one shield it sounds already too heavy.
Yeah, like you have to imagine, Jamie, like carrying your rifle, carrying all your ammunition, carrying your gear and everything else you need to make your patrol, like walking on a march, even if it's just like a patrol of 5 kilometers in a hot day, it's not comfortable.
I
And
what I saw was actually, sorry to interrupt, but like it's the deployable shield that I have seen. I vaguely remember it, but it's something. It's a polymer shield that is not meant to. It's meant to break once it's been impacted. It'll break, but it gives you like a temporary shelter, that surrounds you in like I don't know how many degrees, but it's wide. It's like an oval shape, but you fold it out. It literally is folded, and you bring it out, and you sort of just, it's kind of like laying down like a picnic towel. Like you throw it out, and it deploys. It's
yeah,
weak,
but
it's brittle, but
if I'm gonna ambush you, I think I'm gonna make it so that you won't have enough time to deploy this shield.
well, then I'll just have to add 2 points into agility, spec into reaction time.
Yeah,
You know, speaking of
exactly.
speaking of this, like we should talk about the drug use at wartime, because of people, because a lot of soldiers actually want to be in a heightened state. There were mass
Mhm.
drug use during World War II when the Germans blitzed France, and even French soldiers were also on drugs. It's like a form of methamphetamine. And I suspect that even in today's warfare, a lot of soldiers would be on drugs.
Even adrenaline, would you say, is a drug?
Yeah, but then if you're like a total badass, you get so used to, firefights and mortar shelling that you're just like this, you have this main
It
character
calms you
aura.
down.
Yeah, yeah. It's a it's
You're
a
like, oh
That's not
calming
shit.
how that
presence,
works.
and you're like, oh, I need to be nervous.
I don't think that's how that works, man.
This episode is sponsored by World of Tanks. We keep talking about tanks. Okay, Dan, how was your week?
It was pretty good. Did some work. Uh, had some, yeah, nothing special to be honest. Don't have anything to mention.
I mean, were there no
That's
closet
good.
action?
It was there what?
No, your
Closet
closet
action.
closet action.
Yeah, there was. I'm actually going to go for some more closet action after we have our conversation.
Like
Oh,
Benny, earlier I was telling Dan that he should offer like a niche service for gay millennial people, where he builds the closet, but he also shoves you into it. It's like a therapeutic experience.
oh, you know those kind of like gender reveal parties?
Yeah.
You should start a trend where I'm bursting out of the closet party.
Oh my God. Imagine if an accident happens.
Hey, you just need them to sign a waiver, like not responsible for any accident, liaisons, damages caused, blah 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 blah.
The Dan waiver.
Yeah, and then you can just build like this really really cheap uh,
Cardboard
frame.
closet.
Yeah, yeah, where people can just burst out of.
Can you
Yeah, yeah.
imagine? If I could do that, I would make fun of the whole trend. Like, instead of a gender reveal when I have a kid. Like he bursts out of the closet and it just says he's made in China. That would be so. Yeah, that's inappropriate.
I imagine that could actually be a funny way to for gay people to come out of their closets, like
Yeah.
coming out of the closet
Yeah, it
celebration
sounds like a great activity for rich gay couples that are too
for
bored
the whole
because
family.
yeah.
I mean, and also by taking it lightly, right? Um, wouldn't you say it's dampening the impact? It's like,
You mean
by, by
giving it all a funny twist?
yeah, kind of like it's dampening the impact.
Yeah, the family
I
was
don't know.
Yeah,
too
Maybe
busy.
Jamie, we need your professional opinion here.
Yeah, like no, make it so extravagant.
professional.
Like the family is just shocked at the production value that they're too busy to care about you being gay. That would
Yeah,
be fun.
exactly.
That would be fun. All right. Well, Benny, what about you?
Oh man, the last 3 weeks have just been an escalation in the amount of shittiness that each week has been. Um, I must say I was a little overwhelmed on the Tuesday, where when we went up to this area, it was really cold. There was no hot water. We don't have a proper infrastructure. Some heaters were not working, and you're just thinking to yourself like, damn, this sucks. And that was not it. That was not only it. Like I got a mail saying my bank account was frozen, and then I couldn't pay a couple of bills, and everything
Oh my goodness.
altogether overwhelmed me quite a bit, I would say. Because it's not like it's one thing after another, because you can deal with that one thing after another. But it was just like the accumulation of everything at that one morning.
It's
was
my
like, oh
it's
man.
Yeah, my friend said this to me that you're an adult the moment when shitty things happen in a torrent. Like they don't come to you one after another, they come to you all at the same time. But
Oh,
why was your account suspended?
Apparently they sent me a letter requesting an update to my personal information. I don't remember getting this letter,
are you still
but they
Bernard?
were like, yeah, basically. And they were like, yeah, since you haven't replied to our letter, we're gonna take extreme measures and freeze your account. So, oh my God, thankfully I'm able to be in charge now, because until now I've just been like a deputy, right? I was just been like a second in command. And I must say I don't always agree with the decisions of the leader, but I don't stand against him. I just follow he makes his choice,
Hello.
you follow. I did tell him like I think this could have been done differently, but if he decides not to listen, then whatever. It's not my place to judge. Well, I'm judging, but it's not my place. I don't want to be an insubordinate guy. So you just do what you're told, even if you don't agree with it. Um, but now I have my own command. It's way nicer because So first of all, when I was overwhelmed, I just needed. I went on a walk. Like we didn't have like a lot of area, but just walking back and forth, it helps me. It I started thinking of like, what can I do, right? What can I do? Uh, Walking was cold, but since I was moving instead of just sitting down, like it warmed me up a little bit. So that was a little nice. Um, but I think the thing which broke the camel's back was I wanted hot water for instant coffee, and I had to take it from the tap from the toilet.
What?
Like
Yeah,
from the
because that was the
bowl
only
itself?
place. Yeah, that was the only place where you could get warm, drinkable water, and it wasn't hot; it was warm. But when I was filling up like my instant coffee, with in the toilet where somebody just taking a shit and it still stink,
Oh,
and that was like the low point.
like I think it's just us as a society is so effed up because everything you said about the cold weather, your bank stuff, like I feel like, oh, that's sad. That's not good. But then the moment you said you had to make your instant coffee with tap warm water, I'm like, that is an outrage. That can oh my god.
In
I
the
know how
toilet,
terrible
in the
that
toilet
feels when
where
you can't
somebody
make a
just
proper
taking a
coffee.
shit. It's in the toilet where somebody just taking a shit. Don't
Oh
Yeah,
forget
my
that
for me,
important detail.
for me that sounds like the worst part about this.
at least the
And
coffee
I
is
was
Forget
rich.
looking at
about the
myself
warm
in the
water.
mirror.
Oh, you had warm water, and like,
At least the
what?
coffee is
Like
rich in
that,
microbiotics then.
I looked at myself in the mirror at that point, and I was like, "What the fuck, man?"
In the reflection of the bowl.
No, in the reflection of the
uh,
coffee as the bubble sizzles out. Oh, that moment. That's a pensive moment.
no, but yeah,
That
I
is
went on a walk.
messed up, I must say.
Yeah, it was pretty
Shitty.
About the
it was
bank
quite
thing.
shitty.
But like about the bank thing, I always get mails to update my personal information, but they don't freeze your account as long as you have bank activity. Like as long as you're still using
Yeah,
using the account.
yeah,
And
but we're talking about Credit Suisse here, so and they've been in some turbulent waters recently.
Oh, really?
Switzerland, them bastards.
Yeah, in fact, UBS bought them out because they went bankrupt.
Oh, wow.
That is not
Okay.
good. What happened to
No,
the
it's not.
did something happen to the central bank? Like did your interest rate plummet
No,
or
it wasn't a central bank thing. It was like so I'm not sure about the details, but in the news, it was because they were doing a lot of uh, dirty money holding, and I think America kind of basically. I think this was like 2 or 3 years ago, where America was like, "Oh, you got to release the account details," and normally Switzerland is like, all private banks are private. We don't give out the details regardless of who you are, blah blah blah. But yeah, the Americans pressed for the details, and the
was
banks
it
had no choice but to comply.
was it like a crackdown on Russian oligarchs?
Yeah,
Like the one in
I'm not sure if it was just Russian oligarchs on its own, but it was more like and a tax audit evasion stuff, you know.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and then it came to light like a lot of dirty money, and then yeah, people didn't really like that. I think there was also a lot of mismanaging of portfolios and stuff.
Yeah, so
Oh,
for all Swiss
Yeah,
people listening, just know that your country's built on your country's cheese and wine and chocolate are all built on dirty money for criminals.
you dirty, dirty people.
basically.
Oh, we're
Dirty.
starting the trend of anger in a whole nation.
Yeah, we need engagement with
I
our
mean,
podcast.
resuming. Yeah,
Resuming, yeah. I mean, I think we did quite good for quite a while where we didn't
yeah,
mention or talk shit
yeah.
about any country.
Oh
There
my
was a
god.
while for like a couple of episodes that was basically almost the first sentence somebody would drop would insult a couple of million people.
We have
All
to.
right. Anyway,
Yeah.
so back to my week. Sorry, I'm taking a while. Basically, I just like after the walk, I just started breaking the problems down into what can I solve now and what can I solve later, right? Um, I did everything which I
Sensible.
could solve now, like straight away, and then the problems which I couldn't solve now, I started thinking like, how can I solve them later? Basically, everything we talk about here is fictional and not relative to the real situation. I had to bend the rules a little bit.
Yes, indeed.
Is part
Yes,
of your solution to make sure nobody takes a dump before you make the tap water coffee?
exactly.
Bernard, I
No,
forbid you to shit.
You imagine, like in the morning, you're rushing to the toilet, and then Bernard's just like, "Wait, wait, wait! I'm gonna make my coffie." That would be insane.
No. Basically, I made sure I allocated a time room where I could physically go to a bank outlet, like a bank branch, and unfreeze my bank account, and then which then I could pay my bills. Um, and also, it's not all bad. Good news is that I I had a telephone interview as a reference person for somebody, and thanks to, I would say they pretty much had it in the bag already, but I would like to think that thanks to my comments, like it expedited the process and they got the job right after the telephone interview.
Oh,
So that was great. And also, what another thing that's super great for me is that I have two. One is for flexible, which I can afford to lose, a holdings account, and the more long term savings is on another one.
nice. So you mean like by losing,
True.
you have their money and you can
True.
lose it all, or
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't try to save more than a specific amount in that holdings account
that's
because
really
it's for
messed up.
paying
I
bills
mean,
and
like
stuff. I get money.
I'm glad you can
Yeah.
take that loss, but that sounds really messed up. So the bank can you can just lose the money that you have in your bank.
Yeah, but that's how banks work. If the bank defaults, then all your saving is gone.
Yeah, but typically governments like the central bank would then bail out the said bank that defaults, usually by
Too
Yeah.
big to
making
fail
other banks.
policy. Yeah, I know what you mean,
Uh,
but it depends. It depends on which government and what bank, right? That and it doesn't it doesn't guarantee that your money will be safe.
there's a rule, at least like here, that banks have to basically. I'm not sure who is doing all the payouts and how it's organized, but there's an amount of money. Uh, and I don't remember the limit, but let's say it's, I don't know, 100,000 or 500,000 that you're guaranteed to get back from the bank. If it's more, if you have more than that, then it might be lost. But that minimum is guaranteed. Basically, poor
Oh,
people won't lose all their money. But
yeah.
I mean, if you're really rich, then sorry.
I don't know the details, but I'm pretty sure like there is something like that in Switzerland as well. I think
Mhm.
where if a
I
bank
mean, it
defaults,
makes sense.
then
That's why I was confused.
there's an amount guaranteed. Yeah, I don't know the specific amount, but 100,000.
If the bank
Yeah,
defaults, the Swiss government pays you in cheese.
yeah. No, they don't pay you in cheese. but but I think if I'm not wrong, if memory serves, UBS bought out Credit Suisse for like $1.
What? You mean wait?
Yeah, because they had
What?
negative value. They had negative worth.
Oh, that is
Hmm.
massive. This is massive news. Credit Suisse is
No, it's
huge,
like
no?
several years ago. It's like a couple
Oh,
of years ago.
okay.
It's not
Crazy.
it's not new. They're still working out the kinks on how to integrate the whole client base of Credit Suisse into UBS right now.
My
3
my.
billion. 3 billion. Oh, 3 billion. 3 billion. My bad. That was
It's your
misinformation. They
holdings
didn't buy it
account,
out
right?
for $1. Sorry? No, no,
A
no.
bit,
No, no.
a little miscalculation.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah.
slight.
It's not a big difference. It's an accounting error.
It's like it's like what Trump said, like a small loan of $1 million. A slight
for
miscalculation of 3
for
billion.
it's practically for free. $1.
Oh my god.
Mr. President, it
One
was
$3
3
billion
billion.
dollar.
You spreading misinformation on our podcast.
Ay, ay, ay.
Well, I mean, guys, listeners, I'm talking to you right now. Let's be real. You're listening to three dudes talking about jacking off and shit. Like, if this is where you go to get your source of factual data, then I'm sorry, but you're at the wrong place.
But I mean, we have an authentic approach, right? Like, so people tend to believe that. The 5 listeners we have, at least. Right. So wait, we need to
but
get back to mental health.
yeah, no, I was getting around to it. But
Okay.
one thing I learned about dealing with issues that helped me is that when everything starts to get overwhelming, you need to take a step back. Um, Try to view the issue from a third person perspective. So instead of thinking like, "Oh, I got to do this and this and this," you start to see everything as in like, okay, there's this guy Bernard. He's facing these issues. What can he do to tackle these issues, right? And one thing that helped a lot is as well is to break the issues down. Don't see everything as a big whole, because then it's quite overwhelming, but more like, all right, this seems pretty fixable right now. What can I do to do this one first? All right. And then you do it, and then you go to the next task, or next. And also, one really cool thing about this week is that I finally managed to spend quality time with my partner again. And
Physically?
man, she's just awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, so are you traveling
Because
back and forth?
where to?
Oh, I thought you had to leave the country for, to go somewhere that
Oh, not yet.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay, okay.
that's later. Yeah,
Oh, all right.
it's gonna happen. Yeah, but still.
That's nice. I'm happy for you. You know what? As an
Mhm.
exercise, I thought we could renew something that we had talked about many months ago prior to Benny landing his romantic romantic endeavor. It's when
Mhm.
Bernard asked each of us for his red flags. So to preface this, I was listening to Alain de Botton, another Swiss man, bastard. But
Mhm.
he's a great philosopher, great, he writes great books, and then he said something that one of the best ways for us to, one of the best things you can tell your partner or your potential date is, asking how are you mad? As in, what are your red flags? In what ways are you unreasonable? Are you crazy? In doing so, that it kind of like sets a it basically tells the other person that, oh, you are aware of X, Y, Z, the things that are wrong with you, and it's sort of it's like a vaccine, right? It's like a shot of vaccine, telling them, hey, this is something that you could expect. That if I
Mm.
lose myself, sometimes I could behave unreasonably in these ways. So we can begin with Dan. In what
Yeah,
ways are you mad?
Yay.
one moment. Sorry that you mentioned that,
Yeah.
because I think I have a practical example of what you said, Jamie.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to share it.
No. Okay. No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So one of the things at the start which we talked about is how do you react when you're upset? And I was told by my partner that she needs time alone to sort her feelings out when she gets upset. And while I must be honest, it didn't particularly feel good to not be able to help in any way. Uh, Thankfully, we spoke about it, and I knew I need to give her the space, right? Um, I think had we not spoken about it at first, I might have not given her that space that she needed, and it would have been a more difficult situation.
Mm.
But I think, but I can confirm that being able to share stuff like this, it helps. It helps each other know, like, okay, what should I do, and what do they need if they're upset, and it prevents like unnecessary escalation, I would say. Yeah,
I
that was my
mean,
practical
I
example.
feel like sometimes the challenge though is that we can talk about this later, but I have this week I had this thought that I feel like a lot of times your partner or your friends or your family members when they're depressed, when they're sad, when they're upset. I feel like depression would be something that is very difficult for like it's sometimes my point being like sometimes you cannot just diagnose the other person into being oh they're angry or they're just upset. Sometimes they're just depressed, and it feels like there are times that you cannot leave them alone almost if they're feeling depressed, because I feel that depression is kind of like frustration and sadness that hasn't realized that it is sad to begin with.
Mm.
It's kind of like you don't know. So I guess you'll have to like be very careful about like would there be a case where even though your partner is asking for space, but then what if you identify that hey, you're doing that thing again when you shut yourself off, because it's something I went through, that you're doing that thing again, you said you need time to yourself, you're shutting yourself off and it's not getting better, and I know that you need some intervention, but then your partner makes it clear that she or he doesn't want that. What do you do then?
Well, I think in that scenario, you would have to how well you have to ask yourself how well do you know your partner, right? And how well do they know themselves? If they are somebody who know what they need and are mature in the communication between the both of you, and if they say they need time for themselves, then I think as a partner you should respect that.
Hmm.
Like I'm gonna be real. Like it wasn't easy to just ignore my partner while she was fuming. It wasn't easy. Like I saw she was clearly upset, but I had to give her space and just ignore her. And man, that was an experience. um, but what I did appreciate was that even though she went back, we were outdoors at that moment, and she stormed off inside. Uh, but after a moment, like even though she was upset, she still came outside to spend time with us. Like I was with her brother, and I just asked like, uh, "Can I give you a hug?" And she said no. So that's where I understood like she's still fuming and she still needs her time. And I asked her if I can give her a hug. She clearly said to me, "No, I need to respect that because I believe that she knows what she needs." And I think that's something I'm very blessed with as well. That I have a partner who is able to communicate and who knows themselves. And it wasn't easy, but I had to just accept it.
Hashtag blessed.
Oh yeah, yeah, very.
What if you just don't give really good hugs? Like what if you imagine like you just give such great hugs that no matter what your partner cannot deny.
And
Mhm. Why don't
that
you
would
turn that
be a
into
very
yeah, it's something you can improve on,
Sounds like
right?
superpowers.
that would be cool, but what if you're not physically there then, right? They
It,
cannot they cannot be no partner in the relationship have to be dependent on the other person, I think. I mean, it's good that you can rely a little bit on each other, but you cannot be hung on them. You know what I mean?
I think golden
You need to be
golden
able
words.
to, yeah, you need to be able to, they should be a force multiplier to your life and not dependent on them. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
They're like the cherry on top of the cake, but your life is the cake.
this is turning into
They're
relationship
the
advice.
cream, they're the topping, they're the cherry. They make things better. Everything's better with them.
You want them to pop your cherry. That feels nice.
You're the cream.
I have an issue
Maybe
with yeah, I might be
Jesus.
I might be the maybe it's because I'm the single person in this conversation, but I have this feeling that our generation tends to have such a we have such an expectation and such a a romanticization of, hey, there is certain, like, we want to achieve a good relationship, and we constantly renew and redefine what a healthy relationship is, and we chase after that, you know. and
Mm.
and I feel that a lot of people in that space, giving out relationship advice or whatnot, I feel that there's just such hubris in the sense that, how do we define what's a good relationship? By what measure? Like, would a, for example, would a fulfilling, spiritually fulfilling, adventurous relationship that lasted 2 years, is that objectively then better than, having a mediocre relationship but that's stable and that's been going on for years? You know, I just feel like there's so many edge cases, and I feel that the yes, you can have certain outlook on relationships. You can have ideals. You can have things you work towards. But I fear that. So my concern is that I fear, would it come to a point where you constantly are looking for that improvement? You constantly are looking to make this relationship ever more ideal, ever more rewarding, ever, that that it becomes a stressor, that it becomes a pressure at one point, that it becomes something that you've set expectations for yourself, and when you fail to meet those expectations, you feel bad.
I mean, that really depends on what the individual is looking for in a relationship, right? I mean, at some point, you have to be able to be critical about your situation and say, what I do have is good. Of course, nothing is
Mm.
perfect in the world, and there are things which you can improve upon, but you cannot change the world around you. You only can change yourself. If there's something you do not like about yourself, then you have to work on it. If there's something you do not like about your partner, then you have to try to communicate it with your partner, and hopefully your partner respects you and they try their best to change as well. But these things require effort and time. It's not something that can be changed overnight.
Since we're
Ideal relationship.
Yeah.
What do you exactly mean by them, XOL? Like, because one person's definition of an ideal relationship might be different to somebody else, right?
Well, precisely. The
And
the point isn't that our ideals differ. The point is that we seem to all have this, this generation at least, that we seem to be chasing after our own ideal. And when two people are doing that, after a long while, the ideals may mismatch. You basically want different things, you know. So I'm postulating, I'm supposing a scenario where, would it be better if you just kind of let it be? You just kind
kind
of
of let it what?
let it be. Kind of just, not really expecting any out of it. You just kind of, you're not so into the whole improvement of relationship, that kind of lifestyle. I don't know. We're getting away
Yeah.
from topic. Well, when you said
No, it's an
I
interesting
know, but I think
conversation.
it's an important topic to talk about as well.
it is.
Um, like, Dan, feel free to add your 2 cents as well, right? Like,
Well, okay. When Jamie said that, what if you grow apart, basically, I mean, that could happen, and it's a part of life and a part of a
yeah,
relationship. Some relationships are not meant to be, until grave, and it's okay. You have to be ready for that, and you have to understand that. Uh, I think it's just a part, there are people that are great for a certain period of your life. But then it might happen that, I mean, it may be so that they are not good for the next part of your life, for example.
Do you guys think we ought to be okay, uh, even by ourselves? But should our mood, should our, uh, you know, just everyday be functional, even if we live as an individual, even if we're not engaged in a relationship? Would you guys be
I mean,
okay for a long time if you're just alone?
you have to be okay. I mean, you on one hand, you have to say yes, we are social creatures, and yes, everything is better with a partner. Um,
Is it?
Depends though. If you have a toxic partner, then everything is worse with them. But um, but then you have to be able to identify that and respect yourself and say, no, they suck. And Jamie, even if it was something that was great, but something changed and you grew apart, you still learn from it. The good times still existed. It's just that your situation in life, unfortunately, does not align anymore. And you can't force anybody to continue to like you. So at some point, you have to prioritize yourself and understand this is not working.
Wait, have
Yeah.
we
But
now?
that doesn't mean what you had was not real,
But
and you always learn from it.
I mean, I wasn't talking about whether it was real or not, or whether you can learn something from it. I I just feel that I was wondering that can part of the reason why we seek companionship in today's world is because we're bred into this world. If you compare this, people now would have a need of, oh, okay, I need to date. Oh, I need to meet someone. I need to not be alone. Whereas if
Yeah,
you
but
if you if
then
yeah, I'm wondering if you rewind time a little bit, then back when people didn't so much as fall in love, they kind of just had to get married, and that they mostly lived their lives in for their community and for their work, and the concept of just especially in Asian culture, let's say, the concept of a romantic love didn't quite yet exist. So that's the reason why there's something I've always wondered. What is the default human condition? Like, are we meant to have this so-called close bond with a singular other person? Or are we supposed to have them with multiple people? Or are we completely fine even if we don't have it?
I think we I think as social creatures, you got to know that you're not meant to be alone. Um, you mentioned rewinding time a bit, and yes, in the past people were married off for political gain or for monetary gain, especially on the family's standing or family's value, right? Like farmers would marry their daughters with another farm to combine their farm into a bigger tract of land. Nobles would have political alliance bonding marriages set up for them. And but we're talking about an era where the female in the marriage were less valued, so to say. They nobody cared if they were in agreement on it or not.
Sometimes they
And
don't even care
would
if
you
the
say that's
men
right?
are. Sometimes the sons don't really get a choice either, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course. But that doesn't mean in such a situation, the only thing you can do is make the best out of it, right? Because it's not like you have much of a choice.
Well, I don't have an
And
issue
if
whether
you
but my question is, like, is the human, like, default condition, like, do we need it? Like, is this something that we've been taught, so to speak, because you've heard of stories, right? Like, of twins, when a brother loses his twin brother, and it's a kind of pain that most people who do not have a twin sibling cannot relate. So, in the same way, I feel like if today I give birth to you, Bernard, into a society where like love just doesn't exist, the concept of love doesn't exist, would you be okay? Do you think that's part of human condition? Do you think it's part of human condition that we need to have this social connection? If for some
well,
reason in the future we could live
all right,
in.
hold on. Yeah, I get it, but then I
Mm,
propose you a different question. Um, are penguins taught the concept of love? Why do penguins only have one partner and to mate with, and they don't just mate with any other partners? And
No,
it's not just penguins. There are several other animals out there that only chooses one mate and mate with that mate for life, and that's it.
but that's because
But
they
would
evolved
you
to
say
do
that they are
so.
taught the concept of love somehow?
I don't think they're conscientious in how do you pronounce that word? Conscientious enough for such a thing, right? Like to be able to experience
Yeah,
love.
but you can still say that they choose a mate and decide to stick with that mate, regardless of if it's because the mate has the brightest feathers, or if the mate brought the shiniest rock or smoothest rock, or whatever the reason. They still chose that.
But don't they do that because of evolutionary forces? Just as, like ducks have evolved, certain breeds of ducks have evolved to be in a trio relationship, for example. And some dolphins had been have tendencies of engaging in sexual pleasuring of the same gender. Like, they're literally gay dolphins, I
So
swear.
then we've evolved to be how we are.
Yeah, so that's my question. Do you think we evolved to to love? Because it's a very recent development.
Is it though? I mean, even you mentioned China, right?
Yeah,
And I know people have eloped. I know there is stories about people
that's
eloping and
true.
like
That's
getting
true.
together and running away. Not
Yeah,
it wasn't how to say a strange concept,
yeah. There's still
and
something,
it
right?
wasn't
Like
just
we've heard
China.
from
Like
it.
it happens in Europe too.
Yeah,
And if you wanna look by extension towards the north, where the Vikings were, um, sometimes they shared their partners and they were all okay with that. I would say
you know,
I
I
would say it depends on the individual. Some people are more okay with
I think
that, and some people are not.
yeah, I think I found my own answer in the Greeks, right? There's the idea of eros and philia. So eros is kind of like the kind of the first 2 years of relationship, so to speak, like when you still have that crush and that lust for the partner. And then there's philia, which is kind of like the love you have for your family member or something, like the love of familiarity, of it, the love you
Mm.
share with somebody just by the sheer fact that they have been in your life for a while, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, comfort in the familiarity, right?
Mm. Okay.
I mean, humans are creatures of routine.
I feel like it would be fun to put you in a hard spot because we're going to talk about red flags. What do you think your partner's red flags are? Okay, no, I'm not going to put you on the
Yeah. Wait.
spot.
No. 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 I'm gonna answer that question. Let me think about it.
Meanwhile, Bernard is walking to another room,
Mm.
locking himself.
No. 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 No.
I'm trying to think about your
Mm,
question, Jamie. What are the things that make what was it make me mad? I don't
Yeah,
remember
how
no.
exactly.
in what ways
Do
are you
you?
mad?
What is, in your perspective, your partner's red flag?
No,
Wait,
that's
the
the question
question
I'm asking
was
you. But we're gonna move on to all of our own red flags, or what ways we are mad.
So wait, hold on. Do you want me to say what, in my perspective, are my partner's red flags?
Let's move on from that. I feel like that's
No, why
that.
not? I wanna tackle it. I wanna
that
talk
was
about it.
Okay,
that is
okay,
what Jamie asked me. You, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. All right. I need to think about it a bit.
okay. Dan, you should go first then.
I just remembered. Actually, I was told a red flag of mine. I don't know if you can call it a red flag, but apparently, let's say I'm a quitter. What do I mean by that? Basically, when things get hard, I tend to lose interest and think of how I can switch something. Um, And I never thought about it in that way. I guess because in your mind, I try to be a conscious person, and I try not to lie to myself and others. But you come up with excuses of why, for example, you changed the job,
Mm.
and it was in your head. It's not like, oh, it's hard. I'm tired. I'm quitting. No, you usually think about it like, why is it hard? Because I don't like what I do, and it's hard
Yeah.
because every day you have to force yourself to do something you don't like. For example, yeah. So that's how I was thinking about some of my decisions before.
I've been told the same
But
thing, FYI.
oh,
Yeah.
so yeah, that was an interest. This one is really recent, like literally just a couple of days ago. I had that conversation.
Oh wow. I mean, I have always struggled with a lot of the jobs that I held because I just wasn't stimulated. You know, I didn't feel like I was part of the the company's vision, or I just didn't like what I was doing. Not necessarily because I had to answer to someone. In fact, I would enjoy working for. I'm not the person that likes to lead. I like to be led. I like to function as you know, as a cog in the machine. But
Yeah,
I've
it's
always
easier. You don't need to think so much.
well, you mean
I just had a thought.
like what? But what
It's
about
good.
you, like Benny? You were second in command. That doesn't make it that you were still critical in having ideas of how to improve, right?
I I really I like to be led because I don't need to think so much. The issue crops up when I can clearly see that the person leading is not doing a good job.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of leading.
I
And
like
then
to.
it infuriates me because the problem is I know how to lead. I wouldn't say I'm doing a great job. You need to ask the people who were under my leadership for that. Because some might say I'm the best, some might say I'm the worst. And I've had both of that comments directed at me, depending on their expectations as well, right?
I
Um,
imagine like if the camera zooms out and it zooms into your current second in command, and he or she is hosting their own podcast talking about incompetent leaders.
yeah, yeah. But
Okay.
I would say I could think about how I would like to be led, and that's how I base myself, right? And
Yeah.
how I would like to be led might differ to how somebody else would like to be led. Some people like a direct uh, order on, oh, you got to do it like this by this time and like that. But I prefer that the people have more agency. I just say, okay, this has to be done. How you do it is up to you. Let's go. You know,
Yeah.
it's the difference between goal orientated or task orientated. But back to what I think my partner's red flags are. I wouldn't
Oh,
say it's a
wait.
red flag, but I feel like,
I haven't let Dan
huh?
finish yet.
Oh, sorry, back to Dan
But
then.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
Okay,
finished.
my turn.
No, I did finish. That was the thing that we
Yeah,
discussed.
yeah, but
I
no,
meant,
Dan, it's something that you know. Like it's not. It shouldn't be something people told you. Like what do
ah,
you
right.
know that is wrong with you?
I think he
Good
needs time to
point.
think.
Okay,
Yeah,
should we move
exactly.
on to? Okay, Benny, you should go.
All right. I think, well, I don't see this as a red flag per se. I think we still need time to get used to each other.
Yes.
Um, I feel like there are things which I do which might give her a feeling that I'm doing them because I'm not comfortable or something like that. For
Mm-hmm.
example, I mean, Jamie, you're always you try to be considerate, especially to the older generation, right?
I try not to do
As an
that
Asian,
nowadays. Yeah, yeah, it's something I fight against. Yes.
yeah, but like you would be rude to my mom.
Oh gosh, no! I will make them
Yeah,
wish
yeah.
I was their
Okay.
son.
If you're gonna go to my mom's place, right?
Uh,
and you want to do laundry, would you ask my mom for permission?
yeah, yeah.
For
I
example,
yes, yes. Yeah, so that we don't clash. Like maybe she wants to wash, right?
just an example, right?
Mm,
Um, and also, if let's say we're gonna stay overnight, if you're gonna stay overnight at my mom's place, and you know
yes.
you're gonna come late, like way beyond dinner time, would you inform her like, oh hey, you don't have to cook for me because I'm gonna be late, like I'm gonna come late,
Wait, she would cook for me?
just to be yeah, like let's say you've stayed over a couple of times,
Okay.
and
Yeah, yeah.
she always cooked for you.
Yeah, it's the least I could do. You should always be respectful of your host and make sure that they know that you're coming back late.
But yeah, if that's what you are used to, that she's always cooking for you, even
Mm,
if normally she doesn't cook anymore, like that's
mhm.
what you are aware of, that's what you experience. So just to be considerate, you would say, oh hey, I'm gonna be late, you don't have to cook for me, just to be considerate, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And it's just unfortunate circumstance. I've my waarneming, my experiences has been a little contrary to the norm. So it's ingrained in me. I have to be considerate and stuff. Or yeah,
Are you being held hostage? What's happening?
no, but like I'm just talking about a situation that I see, and I think I understand that this could, how I reacted could be interpreted that I'm not comfortable,
You're going
which is
you're going
You're
around so
cryptic.
you're making so many roundabouts, like you're
okay.
you're turning around so much that I feel like you shifted the gravitational force of the planet. What are you trying to say?
No, like I said, it's not a red flag per se, but I think um
Like a cultural difference, kind
uh,
of.
a little bit, yeah. I think it was also just like when you're with somebody and you're two different people trying to meld, right? So you just need time,
So
I
so
Yeah.
guess.
so how Oh my god,
Oh, you
I'm
know what?
afraid
You
to
know what?
ask.
What's a red flag for me, which I notice about my partner.
Okay.
When I get stuff, I don't go really out of my way so much, but it seems like it bothers her.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Like,
So
and I don't know why. I mean, like I get it. Sometimes you feel indebted or something, but it's not like I'm dropping a big gift. It's just like a little snack along the way.
yeah.
It's something like that.
Okay, well, we need to rescue our brother and just
I want to say something.
Okay.
I've heard about this. I think it's maybe a love language. I'm not sure. No, maybe not a language. But basically, some people they think, for example, if they're sick, asking for help from their partner, or even the fact that they appear sick, making their partner wanting to care for them and caring for them, they feel they don't like it. Like
They feel like a
basically
burden.
they don't want to be a burden or something like that, and they
yeah.
feel
Hmm.
more comfortable if they just let them be. There are people that are it's something to do with how they were raised, but I think I'm also like that, and sometimes these people might come off not cruel, but let's say cruel, because they also apply it the other way around. So if somebody is feeling sick, it's normal for that person to think, "Oh, I want like they would really be happy if their partner would stay with them and tend to them." And people like that I mentioned that don't want to be a burden. They also I think that well, I can't really. I mean, of course, if it's a bad sickness and they actually need help, then of course, definitely they will help. But what I mean is that if it's just, somebody's having a bit of a fever and they just need time to, I don't know, lay in bed and nap and watch something on TV until they get better, there's nothing you can do. I mean, you can be with them, and for some people that's nice, but for people that don't want to be a burden, let's phrase it like that, uh, they will also not tend in that situation to that person, and they might
Hmm.
come off like they are cruel or
That's true.
Mm.
Yeah.
not being nice, but it's just the way they see it. They don't want
Yeah,
that
I get
person
that.
to feel uncomfortable because they might feel like they're being forced to sit with somebody.
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
Okay, so Benny, how
Maybe
Like
that's
how
where
like
it's
not
coming
wanting
from.
to be a burden.
okay, so Benny, what about yourself then? How are you mad? I want to move away from red flags. I feel like red flag is stigmatized. I just want to ask, in what way do you know there's something about you that's unreasonable? That's mad.
I keep getting comments that I'm I'm unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think I get a little bit of a sick, twisted pleasure in annoying my partner.
Mhm. Oh, I
Yeah.
can relate. Living with you.
I,
Sorry.
I mean like I try not to go overboard, but like it's weird. It's like I don't know why I do that. And it's not like she ignores me. So it's not like I don't get attention or anything, but it's like I don't know. I think that's mad.
Okay, you guys are terrible at this. Let me lead by example. Okay.
Ah,
What do you mean?
Here is one way how I am mad, how I am unreasonable. Okay. I sometimes I um sometimes I feel that I would want my partner or my friend to read my mind. Sometimes I could
ah,
if I were in pain, if I were really upset, I don't know if it's just my Asian face or something, but people never know what I'm thinking or feeling. And so and so there are times when I'm really upset and and that sadness is exacerbated by the fact that my partner doesn't notice that I'm upset. And I
Mm.
get into this, so I have this problem where I'm really upset, but I don't want to say it because I feel like you should know that I'm upset. You should be observant enough to see that I'm upset because I do it for you all the time. Like that kind of. So it's
oh
unreasonable. So this is how I am, potentially mad. And this doesn't just
my
apply to your
God.
partner, right? Like this could apply to my family members or my friends. Even though like the level of dissatisfaction would differ. I would be more upset if it's a partner. I'd be less upset if it's a friend. And I kind of don't care if it's a family member because it's what are you gonna do? They're your family.
They don't
I
care
I
about you.
I completely I didn't think about it, but yes, I also have that, and that's not good. And yeah, now I get what you mean. I
Oh,
also have that, and I have to. And the stupid thing is, you in the moment you forget about it, and sometimes only after a little bit of time you
yeah.
remember, and you have to kind of like shake yourself up and like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
The other
you
person
end up
doesn't know how to read your
hurting
mind.
you end up hurting the other person, and because I've done this in my relationship, and it's a moment I deeply regret because I feel like I end up hurting myself more, um thinking that this is something I've heard on one of the podcasts of a psychologist. It's it's the fact that he claims that a lot of
Who
people
is
that are
he?
sorry.
Who's this psychologist?
What was it? It was on. I'm not so sure. It was the something. His last name is Green, Greene. Um,
Robert Greene?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Sounds
so.
about
Yeah,
it.
it's the. He looks weird. He looks like a alien. But he talked about that a lot of times it's the empathetic person the person that you would commonly associate with sympathy, with know how would be observant towards what other people are feeling, which is how I identify myself. It's often people like me who can be unknowingly cruel. You know,
Hmm.
it's because you've been you're so empathetic towards others most of the time, then there could be moments of outburst where you just end up really cruel. His analogy is that there's this one guy who's really nice to everybody, but somehow he gets the worst road rage because that moment of somebody blocking him in traffic allowed him to be to have an outburst. And so that's how I feel, because I feel like most of the time I'm trying to maintain that sympathy, that empathy towards others, that when the others give me a reason to have an outburst, no matter how righteous, no matter how justified it is, such as my partner not noticing that I'm in pain or sad, I get really angry. And that outburst is disproportionate to how you normally are. I never get that mad,
I
but when
think
it
it's like a pressure valve.
yes,
I
yes,
think
yes.
you're accumulating everything until that one moment where you just let all that accumulated frustration out.
So I guess the
Yeah.
antidote maybe just to no, wait, well, before we get to that, we should move on to how you are mad. Wait, Dan, no copy. You should have something else.
Ah,
The Asian student
I
who
think it's a bit more difficult to talk about how you are mad, where you need, and doesn't bias come into this as well, where you think you are mad in one way, where somebody who's close to you might see the issue as something else, right?
well, but I personally could identify that this behavior is problematic regardless of
Hmm.
it's precise. So this is a really what's the word, in like self-inflective exercise, because it requires you to go beyond your bias like you said, pull yourself into the third person and identify that this is a problematic behavior. um yeah, so now it's your turn. We've been on this for nearly half an hour.
Okay, I know Bernard for 31 years already. What are Bernard's issue? Hmm.
Yeah.
Bernard has the issue where he is.
I have an idea to help you guys sort this out.
Yeah.
If it's difficult to come up with something, we're gonna do a little exercise of
All right.
dot dot dot. Okay, so I'm gonna say something like
Hmm.
Apple is dot dot dot. The ellipsis, the it's a thought for you to complete. And so I'll say things
Mhm.
like dogs are dot dot dot, apples are dot dot
Mhm.
dot, and I want you to not think about it, to be instantaneous with your response. Okay,
Okay, but then I don't think you'll have to do this one by one though.
oh yeah, okay, I could do that.
we just
Yes.
shout
Mm.
over each other.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay.
Well, actually, I
Okay.
mean, if somebody won't hear what I said, I'm going to repeat it if needed. Or maybe we can just well, yeah.
So
I
it's
was going to say
basically,
maybe hold it off, like one of us can hold it off and then mention what first came to their mind. But then I
Yeah.
thought that maybe it's going to
yeah. The whole
mess
point
up
is to
the
be
experiment
honest.
somehow.
So
Yeah.
so
Okay. Let's just shout over each other.
so there
Okay,
may
maybe
be
not shout, but let's just speak over each other. And Jamie,
Yeah,
you need to be able to catch it. And if you can't catch it, then we'll just have to repeat ourselves. But we cannot
yeah, yeah.
change the answer.
sure.
Hmm.
So the whole
All
point
right.
of the exercise is to sort of, to delve into your unconscious, and based on what you say, let's, for example, if I ask you apples are dot dot dot, and then you say
Three.
succulent, and then and I'll be like, okay, so let's talk about that. Why do you feel that way? Right. So this is the whole point. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go.
Okay. Let's that's very close. Let's start with this. A real man is
Strong.
female.
What did you say, Dan? Wait, what did
I
you
said
say?
female.
Female. No, come on, let's be serious. Like a real man should be.
This is what
Oh, a
strong.
female. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's literally what came first to my mind. My thought is that I just like, okay, male, and then what is opposite? Female, and I'm like, shit,
Oh.
that's the first thing that came to my mind. But then when you said let's be serious, I tried again, and then I had strong. But maybe this is already
Because Bernard said
you
it.
got
it's
influenced by
already
my answer.
oh, I didn't even hear what you said, to be honest.
Okay,
Ah, okay.
let's keep
What did you
going.
say?
All
What
right,
did you say?
let's go.
A proper
I
woman.
said strong.
A proper woman should be.
Feminine.
Nice.
Oh my
I thought that was a comment on my comment. Oh,
Okay. The
nice.
sexiest thing about a woman is.
Waste.
Intelligence. What did you say, Dan?
I feel I am bad. I'm going to get cancelled.
No,
Waste.
Dan said waste. It's fine. No, it's fine. We all have biases. That's the whole point
Yeah,
of this
it's okay.
of this answer. Um what was that? Okay. A real woman should be okay. Now we move on. Okay, now we move on. My wife should be.
Beautiful. I'm
Oh,
so
damn it.
bad.
Bernard, you
I
shouldn't
took too
wait.
long, right?
Yeah. My wife should be. Just don't think about it. Just say it.
Cooperative.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like this is the episode that's gonna get us cancelled.
That's the thing.
I mean, Bernard, your answers are like, what do you say? They're like by the book. They're very politically correct, and I'm like bad,
Is
and
it
I'm
though?
really on the surface level. Like, you gotta have a nice ass. That basically what I'm saying.
But I was like,
That's
intelligence.
so bad.
Oh my god.
Yeah, well, Bernard's like intelligence. She should be inspiring.
Okay.
Well, I'm talking about just like the surface level
It's not
stuff.
true. I said a real man. The first thing which came to my mind was strong, but I think
Really?
if I think about I think if I think about it, I wanna say dependable actually.
Yeah, don't think. That's
Well,
the whole point. I don't want you guys to think about it.
That's
Now
I'm literally just throwing words out.
I'm because I didn't hear what you said, but I wonder, did I hear it somehow subconsciously or something?
Yeah, I mean, most
That's
people.
how it influenced me.
That's perfectly
That's
normal.
what I thought.
Most people
That's what I
want men.
thought. Like when I said strong, and then you said strong, I thought like I subconsciously affected your words as well. That's why we gotta just like throw it out at the same time, kind of.
Okay,
But I legit didn't hear it. So
okay, I have my last question, right? My last question for you guys. The husband I want to be is
dependable,
fulfilling.
Fulfilling.
That's a nice one. I like that.
I feel like you guys cheated a little. Okay, fine. One last question. The thing.
How do you cheat on this?
No, I feel like you thought about it. Fine. Anyway, last thing. Very last question.
Yeah, okay.
The thing most women want in men is
Money.
Reliability.
What did you say, Dan?
Money.
Okay, and Bernard?
I mean,
I said reliability.
Okay. I feel like Bernard has been pre-filtered. It's as if like being with.
Yeah, but you know what I mean by money, because the first word that comes to my mind is primitive. But when I think about it, what I meant by that is more or less basically what Bernard said: reliability.
Yeah,
It's not
dependable.
the money itself; it's the fact that you
can provide.
You're strong. You can provide. You can solve problems, and I mean, it doesn't have to be involve money, but usually money makes it a lot easier. So that's why.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
money's not the answer, but it makes life a lot easier. Yeah.
Let's delve into the answers that Dan has given.
Oh no.
where basically an ideal wife is a beautiful the beautiful wife, most beautiful thing about
What
woman
did
is
I say?
waist. Huh?
What did I say for that?
You said intelligence, didn't you?
Did I?
Yeah.
I thought I said night.
Oh no, a wife should be. I think
Nice, nice.
you said cooperative.
Oh, right.
There
I
was a
don't still
nice. I
remember my
remember.
answer.
I
There
remember
was a
because
night somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a female should be no or a female something like what is a good female or something like that, and I
Yeah, I
said
think you said.
it should be feminine, and
Oh
and
right,
Bernard was like
yes.
I think
nice,
I said
and
night.
Nice.
and it sounded like he said
I
nice.
I thought you just
As a
meant that's a
comment
good
about my
answer,
comment.
like nice.
Yeah, that's. Oh, I mean, I understand that he was saying what first came to his mind, but it
Oh
did
my.
sound like
Okay, so based on what you've said, Dan, about women, feminine, beautiful, um,
I'm a sexist. I know it.
no, and then you think, and then you instinctively think that a woman, what they would want seeing you would be dependability, like reliability, having resources and money. Uh, what do you think in do you think there is that inherent bias that somehow that not just you, in fact, a lot of us have grown up with this, that the sensibilities we have on what we expect out of a gender, what we
You
expect from
what?
women, what we expect from men.
You know what? I'm going to say it, and maybe sorry for interrupting, but
Yeah.
I don't just think we actually had that conversation, and and I know for a fact that this is how it is, and apparently she had that conversation with other friends,
Mm.
girls, and that's the most popular opinion here, at least in our circles of
Oh wow.
The
uh,
most popular
communication.
opinion regarding what again?
About that a man should be able to provide in
Mm.
Uh, mm,
basically to provide.
And
mm.
Eastern Europe summarized.
Yeah,
So okay, so growing up in that world, like you have certain expectations of men and women, gender role. Is there something that you expect out of your partner, your friend who is a female, or potentially, your future daughter or something, that it could be a bias, that is something that you are unreasonable about, something that from, let's say, from the perspective of a Western European would find you kind of mad.
well, since we're talking about all this females looking for a reliable man,
Mm,
I guess this would be one of the biases that I might transfer, because actually before our conversation where I found out this, I assumed that women want equality, and I mean most likely there are countries where it is like that, but I was genuinely shocked to find out that this is what women want, because yeah, I was shocked because up until that point I tried my best to be equal, to treat equally to, and to be honest, I like it. I can't say I don't like it. I feel like my partner should be an equal adult that also does their part,
yeah.
and I don't mind giving more. I am happy to do that, and
Mm,
I would be lying if I don't have this traditional view
Masculine
on
narrative.
on relationships, and that I don't want to be the one that can solve problems. And no, I want that,
so
but I
okay.
assumed the difference is desire to be more um, subtle.
Mm,
But it's
Mm.
but I was shocked to find out that the less subtle it is, the better. Well, I mean,
yeah.
exaggerating. No, no, not like that. But the level was very different, and it shocked me.
So like a potential,
Yeah.
like, so from my leftist, super woke, diverse point of view, I would then say, okay, so from this observation, we could potentially identify that, Dan, you may take, let's say, if you were to, suffer some kind of terrible, terrible loss, like in your success. So let's say if you lost all your money, you lost your house, you lost your role to be the person to provide, and now that your partner has to take up the heavy lifting, that she has to be the one taking care of you and being the main provider, then I would say then this could potentially hit you way harder than it would hit, let's say, a super woke person in France, like where he believes that, oh, I could provide value by cleaning the house, that kind of stuff. Um, would that be
Oh,
true?
Yeah.
did you just make a French accent there?
Oh, no, no, I tried to, but then I failed. Oh, alors, I clean the house tonight. It's
No, you have to say aus. You can pronounce the
Aus.
H.
All right,
Aus.
that's true. Yeah. So, Darren, would you say that's a
Aus.
would you say then that's something that could potentially hurt you a lot?
I assume it might hurt me more than a person for whom truly that doesn't matter, but I don't think it hurts, but it will hurt me. And I don't just think again, that's kind of the situation right now because I'm still starting my own thing, and it's sometimes it brings some money, sometimes
Mm.
I don't really have any money, just like the bare
Mm.
essentials. Oh, well, you know what? No, because after that conversation, I was so shocked that, and I was a bit angry, and I was like, you know what? Out of anger, I was like, okay, I'll be like that, and then I took over the role of paying for all of the bills and
Mm.
all of the food and stuff like that, and I still make enough to cover that, but nothing more.
Yeah. So
But
Do you
anyways,
feel angry because you feel like society lied to you?
I felt angry because it felt a bit unfair that just because I'm a man,
Mhm.
I now have to um, in my head as like an economical slave. But
Uh,
But at the same time, you have these expectations of women that instinctively that
yeah,
right? So I feel like this is the self-reflection point where I think you should have, like from my as a friend, right? Bernard could have his opinion, but my opinion would be something along the lines of, I think it would be good if you can have some self-compassion, like it's just yes, there are there are very real problems and responsibilities that you need to tackle, but just know that we do live in a world of full of unexpected things, and anything could happen.
mm,
And I hope that if something does happen to you, you should always talk to us, and that just be kind to yourself. If you find it difficult, if you're like me, who's incredibly self-critical, then we need to turn to our friends to have some compassion. Otherwise, we're going to stop functioning. We just end up in this
yeah,
eternal spiral of blaming ourselves.
but you're never good
yeah.
enough. That
Mm,
everything's your fault.
exactly, exactly. Yay,
You don't want that.
therapy. Okay, Benny, now it's your turn.
Yeah. Tell me,
So,
what
so
is
I,
wrong
I
with
I
me,
don't know if you're
doctor?
memeing, but I think I want to believe it's your genuine answer. So uh,
What do you mean I'm memeing?
no, no, no.
What
Okay,
the
fine.
hell?
What was your answer for a man? Yeah, a man should be
A man should
reliable.
be strong.
Yeah, and dependable. A man should be strong, and your wife, what was it? A
I
woman should
think
be
she's cooperative.
cooperative. Yes, that's the one that I want to delve into. That obviously there's this, you have expectations of the ideal man being strong. I imagine both. It could be physically. It could also be strong as in mental will. Being a strong person who's not easy
Mm-hmm.
to break down, and
Mm-hmm.
that a good wife would be someone who plays more of the role of the arbiter, someone who seeks to cooperate as opposed to imposing ideas and making you follow them, right?
Mm.
Um, do you
We work
see?
together for a better future.
Yes. Do you see a potential issue there where you feel like you have these expectations of both what the man should be and what the woman should be?
No, I think if I use my logical brain, I think everybody's is an individual,
Yeah.
and it's not good to pigeonhole people. I know there is stereotypes, but you should take everybody as a individual basis. But then for me,
Mm.
because I have that mentality, I
Yeah.
hyper focus. So I only have selected individuals which I hyper focus on,
Mm.
and everybody else falls to the wayside.
Do you think there's an issue with a man breaking down, having
I don't
weak?
think there's an issue with a man breaking down. We're only human.
Mm.
There's only so much we can take, and the world is a rough place out there.
Okay, so it's more
How
like
can you fault a man? Like, how can you fault somebody to not be able to take it sometimes? Because everything sometimes just gets too much.
do you think you would allow yourself to break down?
I think it's not a choice. I
Mm.
think sometimes things just get too overwhelming,
Yeah.
and you just break down. I think it's okay, but I think you need to be able to pick yourself back up. You can't just keep
Mm.
staying down.
Yeah. Okay. And
Personally,
the thing about a cooperative wife, yeah, would there be a
mm.
problem if your partner isn't isn't the one? So by that, do you mean that because you yourself are a cooperative person that you want the partner to work with you, or do you mean that you don't like it when they impose their ideals on you, when they have a certain belief or a certain way of doing things, and then they tell you, "Hey, I would prefer if you do this my way. I would prefer if you squeeze the toothpaste by rolling the bottom as opposed to freaking pressing down on the toothpaste, leaving a huge ass dent."
That's okay as long as you can show me why your way is better than my way. Because I'm not perfect.
And if they
It doesn't
cannot
mean just
convince you,
because I'm used to doing things in one way that the other way is not better. But then I want you to communicate that with me. Tell me
mm,
why what I'm doing is not good, or what I'm doing how it could be better.
okay. Based on these things, do you feel like there is a there are things that there are biases or potential problems with the way you think about these things, with the way you approach these things, both the male role and the female role. Can you identify something that could come off as unreasonable to others?
No, it's perfect.
Yeah, yeah. I was just like,
uh,
Benny don't think he has any issues. That's it, which is fine. It's just fine.
um,
Like this is a
no, I mean, depending on the individual, right? Like some people, as Dan said, want to be. It depends on their expectations, really.
yeah,
How they were raised in what environment they were raised, their culture,
yeah.
what they were thought to expect, what they've experienced for themselves, and what they decided that this is what I want,
Mm,
or this is what I don't want.
this is
Um,
good.
there is no one size fits all
Yeah.
solution. You have to you have to decide,
Mm,
like, what is okay for you and what do you want, and what is not okay for you and what do you not want. Like, going back to what you earlier mentioned, like, people wanting always more.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think I spoke about this before as well. There's always someone more beautiful, there's always someone more handsome, there's always someone more paying more attention to details. There's always someone richer, more materially affluent. There's always someone more intellectually capable. There's always someone more physically capable. There's always someone better than you at something or another, but you don't see what their downsides are.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope from this little session, so from this little session, we have learned that the burnout is perfect, and
That's not true.
Okay, I'm just joking. I jest. But as I said, like this is a really good exercise for you to do it with anyone. Like, if I had a chance to talk to Bernard by himself, it's just a two-way conversation. If I really want to poke deep, I could ask like, "Oh, I want your instinctive answer at let me ask you, my sister is blah blah blah, etc., etc." Right? Like there's so many different kinds of questions you can
Mm.
ask based on that person, and it's a really great thing to talk to your partners or your friends about. Like I like to, I once talked to my friend about, we answer the question that people are, and my instinctive answer is cruel, and then
Annoying.
yeah, and then
Mm.
I had to delve into why I felt that way, and it has to obviously do with my upbringing of knowing that, at least when I was growing up, the world isn't kind to gay people, and so maybe I was at a very young age. I have always that caution towards the common man, and that I feel like compared to another person, I find it more difficult to believe that people are good, even when we have evidence showing that people can be good. But I tend to err on
Mm.
the side of the negatives, right? I err on the side that people are cruel. Okay, so
But
as
that's also like a self-preservation strategy, though.
yes, precisely. And so it's a very
If you
interesting
if you are careful around everybody, then you are able to prevent yourself from being hurt.
exactly. So
Least
that
they are out to get you.
but that was my problem, right? I was preventing myself
Mm.
from being hurt, and I ended up making it difficult for me to connect with others, because to really connect with others is to be vulnerable, which is why I felt such a strong kinship to you guys when I first became friends with you. It was the first time when I laid down the walls and be vulnerable, and I was just like, oh, I
Yeah,
don't know what would come of it, but I'm just going to be vulnerable. And people connect to you through your vulnerabilities. And that's why I encourage people to,
yeah.
just be honest about yourself. And anyway,
And,
okay,
and lo and behold, we accepted you for who you are.
exactly. Oh,
But you know what I realize about being vulnerable as well. I'm sorry. I
mhm.
know I'm interjecting a little here.
Go ahead.
Um, it seems that I have several suppressed, like, I don't know if emotions is the right word, but like
Hmm.
uh, things which I shoved aside from the last time I let myself be vulnerable, and because I haven't let myself be vulnerable for a long time, they were forgotten and now are resurfacing because I let myself be vulnerable again.
What are they? What are them? Examples.
Um, for example, the feeling that I need to always be reporting what I'm doing to my partner is
Hmm.
one example. Was an example. I don't feel the need
Like
to do
things you
that
need to.
right now
What do you
anymore.
mean by that? Like you need to report to your partner about things?
To my ex, the
Huh?
need to always feel like I have to keep speaking about something because they weren't comfortable in silence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were insecure, so I always had to be reassuring them. And I realized like this ingrained habit, so to say, sometimes resurfaces,
Hmm.
and there's a little bit of a clash, I would say, because my current partner is she doesn't need these assurances, and for her, I'm saying it too much now. So I'm learning to adapt as well
Hmm.
again. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
True.
I have one thing like that.
Yeah. But
For a while, my wife was a bit needy in a way of because I moved back to my original country, but she had to move away from her, and
Mhm.
she didn't really have anyone here, not no friends or relatives or really anyone.
Yeah.
Now it's a lot
Yeah.
better, but back then, um,
Mhm.
she would feel sad if I'm going somewhere. For example, when I went on airsoft with my friends, uh, she didn't like airsoft, so and she was perfectly fine. She understood consciously that it's perfectly fine for her partner to have a hobby that doesn't involve her, but at the same
Yeah.
time, she would feel sad. And I mean, we try to communicate with each other to tell why about our feelings, and that made me really aware of okay, I'm not with my partner right now. I should think how I can. Uh, Basically, I was very worried about i- is she happy at the moment? Like I took on the
Mm.
responsibility of making sure that is she enjoying her time right now, and
Mm.
Mm.
I wish I caught it earlier because at some point I noticed that it became like this stressful trigger. You know, I was drive somewhere with my friend, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, is she having fun right now? Like, is she having
Like, is she
time?
okay?
Like,
Yeah.
what should I do? How can I manage everything and like rearrange my schedule so that I can pick her up and bring her with me everywhere? And at one point it clicked that like this is not normal, and it's stressful, and it makes me start to think about her as a chore in those
Mm.
situations, and of course it's
Mm.
not good for your relationship. um,
Yeah.
and I so that's a thing that kind of I feel like is similar to what you mentioned,
Well, I
Bernard.
think the
Yeah.
solution is to give her a gun. Like, you want a gun? Here's a gun. No, but seriously, yeah, I get what you mean. Like, I certainly have felt that way as well. Like, we're not caretakers of our partners, and we should respect their autonomy. And
Yeah.
yeah, and we certainly cannot take on their emotion as our own, right? Like, we cannot manage both our emotions and theirs. Eventually, you burn out, I think.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
And
all
I
like, it's easy to talk about these things, but when we're actually in there, practicing, like we sometimes forget, I guess that's why you should talk to your friends, like, every now and then you have like this little check-in. It pulls you out to the third person to have this, self-reflective experience.
yeah.
So
Or
And
yeah.
for
even
me, it was more
maybe
like, yeah, for me, it was more like a slight clash, like
Hmm.
why am I doing it like this? And then I realized, oh, I'm doing it like this because that's what I'm used to.
Mhm.
And then, okay, I see the point. And then it became a practice in just letting go, kind of, and just giving my partner the trust that um, that if she say it's okay, then it's okay. You know?
Hmm. Indeed.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we've had a very lengthy conversation about this therapeutic session. I think it's fun. Like, we should every now and then we should, have conversations about wellness.
This
Uh
is very deep
yeah, lots
and
of things
calm.
to think about.
So deep, you can see Adele rolling around.
Oh my god. Oh my god. She lost all of her weight. It's kind of weird, but like she's always been beautiful to me. But I guess, I should be happy for her she lost weight. But even then, like, I don't know. Like, a lot of there was a trend of Ozempic, and so a lot of celebrities, we've noticed that they lost a tremendous amount of weight in a short time. Anyway, we could talk
Mm.
about that next time. But
I
I
haven't really been following up on Adele, to be honest.
oh, she is so talented. It's insane. You
Sounds like she's our old friend. You made
Yeah,
it sound
yeah,
like
yeah.
she's our
What's
old friend.
Adele doing?
Yeah, I haven't spoken to her for.
How's Lady
The
Gaga? I
last I
haven't met
heard
her.
from her was like back in.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Well, this has been a fruitful conversation. I think it would be fun to talk about our addictions next time, and that would be. But yeah, we'll
Oh,
think about it. And
Mhm.
yeah. I
s-
have a clear addiction right now. It's dangerous.
oh dear. Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
coffee from the toilet bowl.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No,
Uh,
no. I'm
I've
gonna be
always
cringe.
wondered,
I'm addicted to my partner's love.
look,
Oh.
there's something very real about being next to your partner, like biologically being very close to them. It's that if you make out with your partner, obviously some of your saliva goes into theirs, and then there's studies that apparently allude to the fact that you will kind of, your biology will change a little bit depending on the person you're with, you know.
What?
Uh, you
I'm gonna
You're
mutate.
yes, Bernard.
No, but you know how like our
I always
internal
wanted a
Get
third
ready
hand.
to weave a cocoon, and you're going to turn into a beautiful butterfly.
oh man. Well, in any case,
Oh,
we should conclude, right? Uh
all right.
Thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned. Be sure to check us out on Spotify and Patreon. If you'd like to ask any questions, leave comments below, subscribe and like, you know the drill. Thank you guys.
And
Thank
if you
you,
got a
everyone.
shekel to spare, throw them our way. We need
Give me the
it.
money.
So Dan can be a proper provider for his family.
Help Dan find his
Realistic,
manhood.
patriarchal,
Misogynistic.
yeah, way of life.
Make Dan
Yay.
patriarch again. All right. Bye
All
guys
right.
then.
Have a good one. Thanks for listening.
Bye bye.